in my tiny bubble, like a movie without ending. Spending time like it was going backwards. Posters covering my walls, but they fall down. Diving deeper in the books that we read blind. Breathing in and breathing out to get smarter. Not working out for me, yeah.
My name is Caroline. So I signed up for my first marathon and ran a 3:05 and very unexpectedly won it. And then I hired a coach and I ran a 2:46 marathon. And I've just been through a lot when it comes to running. I used to hate running and now I'm aiming for the Olympics. And I've started this channel because I want to share all of my learnings with all of you guys. So I have created 3 different marathon training plans depending on your level. So I'd say the difference between other plans I've seen and my plans is that it's a very clear who is this for section. That's one. And then my whole training philosophy is on heart rate and on time on feet. So if that's something you're interested, check out the training plans. I also do one-on-one coaching, so there will be a link below. And yeah, please subscribe to the channel and let me know what you want to learn more about. So in this video, I'm just going to take you through my supplement routine, and I'm going to bring on my registered sports dietitian, Katie, and also the founder of TRUWILD, Zac. Okay, so then moving on to my post-workout smoothie. So another thing I've started doing is I'll have a smoothie after every single workout. So because like I mentioned earlier, I'm not that hungry after a workout, I just love how a smoothie is like easier to digest and kind of take down. And I can also add all my supplements. And it's also really easy to kind of tweak that smoothie depending on what kind of run I've done. So like on Sundays, I'll have my long run, right? Like then I'll add more carbs, just more of everything really, versus like a shorter run where I don't need as much. So if you want to talk a little bit about the supplement, or first like the carbs and the protein that we add in that smoothie, and then the supplements.
Yeah, and this is the protein powder, right?
No, this is...
Oh, okay, so these two?
Yeah. But then, yeah, also just I use unflavored whey protein. My go-to protein powder has been from My Protein, and we've made sure that it's third-party tested. Yeah,
so we'll talk about what goes into that post-exercise shake, smoothie, whatever you want to call it. Again, we would only say a supplement's necessary if we're not getting it through food. The reality is if you've finished exercise and you're one of my rare athletes who wants to get your protein and carbs in from food sources, by all means, we can do the same thing from food. What you'd want to be prioritizing is about 20 to 25 grams of protein and double that in carbs. So probably about 40 to 50 grams of carbohydrate. And so can I get that through food? Yes, but why a lot of my athletes probably gravitate towards the shake or the smoothie is I just finished an effort. I don't want to sit here and chew all this food. I can get this down a lot quicker and easier. And that's where something like a whey protein supplement, for the most part, is going to get you that 20 to 25 grams to mix into with milk, with juice, with water, something that's going to give you a lot of carbohydrate along with that. And so I think, yes, do we need that protein powder if it's budgetable? Absolutely. It's going to get you to that number a lot quicker than trying to eat all that in food post-exercise.
Yeah, love that. And my go-to for carbs is frozen banana.
Love.
And then what I've done is after I have a harder workout, I'll do blueberries for the anti-inflammatory.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It changes the flavors. I'm a fan of all fruits, and you actually sent me a study. We'll continue to learn about, is there an optimum combination of what to mix that protein with? For now, until more studies are coming out, I'd say, yeah, frozen fruit in general is going to be your best friend. Juices. The one thing I will throw in that we're just learning about is we probably don't want a high amount of vitamin C. So if you're going to mix that with like a high volume of orange juice or something like that, vitamin C right after exercise is actually going to, we used that term earlier of the how reactive, what's the cross reactivity of something that we're taking. vitamin C post-exercise is actually going to be a little bit cross-reactive with protein synthesis. So that would be the only thing I would say is don't make your post-exercise smoothie be super high in vitamin C. Bananas, small amount of berries, milk, those are going to be your best friends.
So does that go for food as well?
Yeah.
So that's like bell
peppers, citrus fruits. We wouldn't want to make vitamin C a priority here post-exercise. So keep it minimal.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cherry juice. Jumping in, but
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of studies of like recovery around like cherry juice. I don't know like what's inside of it that makes it, but I've just read recently articles and I've taken myself that cherry juice.
Yeah, tart cherries.
Not from tart cherries, not from concentrate.
Absolutely. So again, what's in this juice? Is it super high in vitamin C? Are we going to see cross-reactivity with protein synthesis? What we know about tart cherries is the compounds in there are going to fight inflammation a little bit better than other fruits will. It's just kind of that winner in the category of what's going to reduce inflammation for my muscles to recover faster. But muscle recovery is more than just inflammation. It's also the synthesis, the rebuilding of it. And so what we're learning in research studies is if they're taking that tart cherry juice and our vitamin C content is super, super high, well, we probably want to wait to have that. Not with our shake, right? Not right after exercise. Give yourself that window of 30 to 45 minutes where we focus on protein and carbohydrate going in the system. Once that window's done and that starts to digest and get absorbed, well, after that, probably about an hour and a half after exercise, that tart cherry juice can go in the system, even if it's got vitamin C with it. Well, now we prioritize the protein synthesis. Let's now go focus on the actual inflammation battling that the tart cherries are going to assist with. So timing is important. And again, can we do this through actual foods and fruits? Yes. But are we going to get a higher dose through something like tart cherry juice or pills? Absolutely. Benefit of a supplement is dosage.
Nice. Yeah, actually, that's a very good transition to the tart cherry
I
pill.
didn't even see that.
Yeah, so I feel like I'm a very picky eater.
Most people love the juice.
Oh, I do not like the tart cherry juice. So I found this. It's literally just like CBS. So do you want to?
Yeah. And again, this is my first time seeing it. But again, with any supplement, we want to look at what our dosage is, what's the timing. So now Caroline knows, okay, if I'm going to throw this in the system, is there vitamin C in it? So that's the first thing we want to look for on the back. We have our tart cherry in amounts at 1,000 milligrams. We're going to look at other ingredients. There's some gelatin, some maltodextrin, some stearic acid, but we don't see vitamin C in here. We don't see any citric acid involved. So could it go in with the smoothie? Potentially, yeah. It's not like the cross-reactivity of the vitamin C is at play here.
Yeah.
So this would be okay. But if you look at other tart cherry juices or products, you'd want to make sure what else is involved. What are the other ingredients here? Am I getting just the tart cherry part, or are they adding other things to it? So those are the things to look out for.
Yeah. I feel like it could be good to just inform the listeners also on like why we've chosen Thorn.
Absolutely.
So I actually asked like all my followers on Instagram what brands they would recommend, and then Katie and I had like a discussion on
So for two reasons. Number one, as a consumer, let's say you're not a competitive athlete like Caroline, you're not going to be drug tested or asked to meet these requirements. Well, you're still spending money on these supplements. You're still going to want that guarantee that what you're paying for is what is you're getting on that label. One of the best ways to do that is just like our food is looked at by administrations and governing bodies to go in and check, quality check, assurance checking. There's a governing body for supplements called NSF. And that's going to be the third party that goes in and says what they're saying you're getting in the supplement is actually what's included. Now, NSF certification is its own intricate process, but when that label is included, for most of my athletes, that's a green light that this is not a supplement that's going to be coming up in any sort of drug test with something you didn't know within it. So for a lot of athletes, mental clarity that they're not going to get pinged on a drug test for taking a supplement that's NSF certified, that's one of the first things I'll green light for someone who is going to be competing. So for Caroline, we looked and said Thorn is one of those products that's taken really seriously in terms of what governing body is coming in and checking these supplements to make sure that what they're saying is there is there. And so I'd say baseline rule to get your money's worth, and if you're a competitive athlete who's going to be drug tested, look for that governing body to be associated with your company before you just buy XYZ product.
Nice.
Safety.
Yeah. And then back to that post-workout smoothie. So 2 things in addition to the protein and the carbs that we add is creatine.
It's a fun one.
Yeah, and L-glutamine.
Yeah.
So if
let's
you
talk
want
about both of
yeah,
those. Creatine would probably be amongst the omega-3s, the vitamin Ds, and the electrolytes. I would say that those 4 to 5 supplements are going to be the ones that are most popular and give you the most benefit. Again, there's very low cross-reactivity, so we're not going to see creatine hinder any process of muscle recovery, of sleep quality, of anything like that. There's no time of day that creatine's best to be taken. But once again, if we're going to be making a smoothie with powders anyways, 5 grams of creatine monohydrate, which is the specific form we want to look for, is not going to be that much powder to add. And so it's very realistic to add this to a post-workout shake. What we know about creatine is that it's assisting in muscle recovery. So there's a bit of a hydration element to creatine. It's going to pull in a lot of water into the muscle and help recover it. It's also going to help with muscle recovery in the sense of protein synthesis, getting the muscle what it needs to rebuild as it stays hydrated. And then 2, stay tuned on this because we don't have enough research yet, but we're learning about creatine's ability to assist with cognitive and bone density benefits as well. So I would say
Very
most
cool.
bang for your buck, 5 grams of creatine monohydrate per day could benefit all of us. There's really no one who's disqualified from seeing some benefits in that category.
because typically, like a lot of, or it's more common to see strength athletes take creatine.
Yeah.
And I've seen like on Instagram that there's been a lot of like controversy around if runners should take creatine or not.
I'm a fan, and you can tell me what the controversy side of it is. Do you know
Yeah.
what the argument is for runners?
It's been, I did notice that I gained weight, and that's not something I've been concerned with, but I guess I heard people like say that it didn't give any benefit as far as like endurance,
Okay.
because especially for like marathons, it's such a long event.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll speak to that. Even for our strength training athletes, you won't feel creatine make a difference. It's not as though it's not one of those supplements. I'd say electrolytes are maybe the only one where we can say I feel an immediate difference day in and day out. Creatine, when not taken versus taken, let's say we have brain fog or we have gone through a strenuous workout. If we didn't take creatine versus took it, would we feel an effect? No. And in fact, with most supplements, we're not going to feel that effect. But what we know creatine is doing is it's getting into the muscle, it's pulling water along with it, which is why we're experiencing a little bit of extra weight, water weight. But the muscle recovery itself, are we going to feel that action happening? No, not necessarily. So in an endurance effort, you might say maybe creatine isn't necessary. It's not going to be acting like the nitric oxide where it's delivering more oxygen somewhere, or it's enhancing the ability of the muscle to operate for longer. It's helping that muscle recover back for the next effort. So I'd say all athletes could benefit from it. Anyone who's physically active at all could benefit from it. And we'll only continue to learn what extra benefits besides just muscle related that this creatine monohydrate is continuing to have on us.
Nice. You've definitely convinced me. So do you take creatine?
I'm a fan.
Yeah, no, it's one of my supplement sacks that I take.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So there's
kind of
different
that
types of
staple.
forms. Yeah, it's a staple.
Yeah.
We don't offer it just because from a price point, right? I think it's one of the most affordable, supplements in the market just because the price per kilogram.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely fluctuated through time, but it's also like everyone sells it. So you just gotta understand like the quality of it too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't use Thorn. I think I use Caged.
Yeah.
There's one I use. But yeah, I'm a big believer of it.
Nice. I'm keeping it. And then L-glutamine.
Yeah, last but not least. So this one, Caroline, you were taking this before we met, and we said
Yes.
keep it on the list. So why I'm not concerned, again, very safe. It's NF certified. There's no way that Caroline could be reaching toxic levels of this supplement. What we know about, is this the glutamine? Yeah. Glutamine is one of those other amino acids that's going in for repair processes. So is Caroline going to see any sort of detriment from taking this in addition to her creatines, her BCAAs, her protein powders? No, this is only adding to the muscle recovery So there's no overkill. There's no saying she's going to see negative effects from taking this. This is probably a less common supplement for my athletes because, for the most part, they are eating protein every day in animal sources. They already have a whey protein. Maybe they're also doing BCAAs and creatine. And so, do we need this? Will we see extra benefit from it? Potentially not. You know, you might be covering your bases. But for Caroline, it's NF certified, so she's safe taking it. It's only going to aid in muscle recovery. You're putting this in post-workout, right?
Yeah.
So it's getting absorbed readily, and it's one of those amino acids that's going in and helping repair the muscles. So no cross-reactivity. It's safe to take, and she has a supply of it. So we're going to continue to take it. If she ran out of it, would I say, hey, Caroline, this is one of the ones I want you to stay on? Not necessarily. We could look at costs and say, do we want to keep taking this? If you're sponsored by it and you're getting it, it's easily accessible, then we may keep it. But for most athletes, is this one that I'm going to live and die by for you? Probably not. It's one of those extra ones.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say like now, since I'm getting the L-glutamine and the hydrate, like I'm not as concerned with it, but I feel like especially when I have double sessions, which now I have double sessions 6 days a week, I do. It might just be like a mental thing, but I do feel like I want to reduce that muscle. It helps reduce muscle soreness, and I do feel like I want to like reduce as much muscle soreness as possible.
Your focus is on how do I recover for that next session.
Yes.
So for most of my athletes, they're like, tell me all the things I could do.
Yeah.
And this would be one that's safe to do, and if you can afford it, you know, Thorne's a great. They're putting out a great product, so that's why we're going to keep it for as long as you're not having any negative effect to recovery, and we'll continue to assess that as you put more strain on the muscles that you have and how we want to recover them. So
Nice. And then I want to add that if I have a threshold session or a session that's over an hour later in the day, then I'll also take gel, but then I'll take the one without caffeine. I don't know if I mentioned that, but yeah, I do try to not have caffeine after about 12, just because I do go to bed pretty early. I try to sleep by 9.
yeah, that would be the ideal timing. I
Yeah.
would say for athletes or non is after 12 p.m. Can we cut it off? Can we keep it at a minimal dose? 20 milligrams.
Yeah.
You're going to utilize that, especially if you have an afternoon run. So best practice would be afternoon. We want to stop caffeine consumption if we can.
Nice. And then maybe you can talk a little bit about the adaptogens.
So these are new, so I know you're gonna have to triple check them, make sure reference everything. But no, I love these. This is one of my favorite products that we have. So adaptogens, right? They're functional mushrooms that adapt your body's mental, physical, and emotional stressors. So it just creates pathways for your bodies to accept how you feel at certain times, right? And they've been around for thousands of years. Chinese Ayurvedic medicine that's had like so many great benefits. And for me, like everyone feels differently through this, but for me, like it's big stress and mood enhancer. So I feel, so I take 2 in the morning. The biggest thing here about that a lot of people don't know, it's not like something like, again, like energy, like caffeine or electrolytes where you're going to instantly feel it. It's something I call like a magic wand effect, where like after 6 days of taking it, you're going to notice slightly, you're going to sleep better, your mood's going to be better, lower stress as well, right? So at the end of the day, they're just herbs and roots, right, that adapt your body's like stressors. And we have 7 different mushrooms in there that helps for those. And also another big thing too, I know we were talking about caffeine, and if you have too much caffeine, it affects your adrenal glands. So like adaptogens are another beneficial, I think, thing that helps reduce cortisol levels and within your adrenal glands. So I don't know if you want to talk about that as well, but that's just an important part that I think that's interesting. And then there's also hormone balance too. So there's a lot of studies with ashwagandha that helps lowers like hormonal balance as well as like thyroid support as well. So like there's so many different studies out there around like functional mushrooms and the benefits of them. But to me, it's like a big daily part of my routine as well.
So on that, it's only 1 of these, right, per day, or is it 2?
3.
I only taken
About to up your dose.
Yeah, because if you think about it, right, we have to make into a powder.
Yeah.
And the capsule can only fit so much. So we have 1,500 milligrams, I believe, of beets. Yeah, so 1 is a third of that.
Okay.
So I would be taking 3.
So I'm gonna be really fast now.
Yeah,
Start taking 3.
you're gonna see a dramatic improvement. Yeah, as well.
Okay, cool. Okay, then it's lastly then my little night routine.
Nighttime.
So there are really 2 things I take at night. Actually, I've been taking the Tart Cherry at night. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's getting in the system. It's not getting in the way of that immediate after exercise, muscle recovery. It can fight inflammation and battle that when it's time. So
Perfect.
I'm fine with that.
So then I take this magnesium.
So magnesium, why we would want to take it at night, relaxation, right? We want, if all these electrolytes are being passed to make the muscle contract, and of course proteins are going in to help rebuild, creatine's rehydrating it. So there's all these things that are helping our muscles, but what's going to relax them? What's going to give our muscle a chance to take a break? That would be the point of magnesium, this micronutrient. Again, does everyone need it? Not necessarily, but if we're looking at how can Caroline start to relax the body at the end of the day, that's what these last 2 supplements are going to aid with. So magnesium relaxing the muscle, theanine relaxing the brain. That's what we're learning. If Caroline, one of the things we've gone back and forth about in her sessions is her sleep quality. How her ability to fall asleep, stay asleep, and recover is being impacted by certain things in her life. And so for the magnesium, we can know that the muscle's getting relaxed, but then the theanine, that would be one where if an athlete and I are talking about poor sleep, like you recently had some up and downs in your sleep quality, theanine going in as a compound that's coming from tea and being able to relax the mind is what we're learning about it. That would be the benefit of taking both of those in the evening. How can we get the body to wind down? Get my muscles to relax, get my mind to relax, sleep quality and recovery quality from there.
It's really cool because I have the Whoop that I use for my sleep data, and it's really cool to see the impact of like the supplements on the Whoop. Like I've seen before I started taking the theanine and the magnesium, and then after. So yeah, let me know if you want a video on that because I think that's really interesting.
And I'd say don't throw them in. If you have great sleep, if you're not an athlete who struggles with that, are these really going to move the needle for you? Not necessarily. But if you're someone who's having poor sleep, is going to see a result from this, then we might have that conversation of how much, what dose, what quality.
Yeah. I do wonder about the magnesium because I remember before I knew anything about magnesium, there were a lot of different types of magnesium, it seemed.
Yeah.
So why did we land on the magnesium bisglycinate?
Yeah, so there are a lot of different types of magnesium. Absorption is going to be key, so there are a few that are best absorbed. The only one we really wouldn't want to buy or take would be magnesium oxide. That is used as a laxative. So if you're buying magnesium oxide and you haven't noticed any muscle recovery, but you are having more frequent stools, they use that across clinical to get someone to use the restroom. So don't waste your money on magnesium oxide. All the other forms of magnesium citrate, we landed on what can Thornton give us? What do they have that's NSF certified? We know this has a high absorption rate, the bisglycinate. So magnesium citrate and bisglycinate are going to be 2 that the body's going to readily absorb.
Yeah, I think I took the citrate in the morning, and then this one was at night,
Evenings.
I don't know if it's like the
Timing.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. Okay. I have some clients who are going to remember to take it in the morning, so we're fine.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's not like magnesium is going to relax your muscle throughout the day to not perform.
Yeah.
Is the body going to be able to utilize it? Yes. And if it's going to relax, well, let's take it in the evening when you're getting ready to sleep. It's kind of the thought process there.
Yeah.
So yes, we do like this type, readily absorbed. Type matters, so pay attention to what type of magnesium you're buying.
Yeah. And then lastly, one of the things we've also started implementing is this whole drinking and eating less right before I go to bed. So I do try to take this 2 hours before bed. Isn't that what we've talked about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's say extreme cases where someone's really losing sleep quality because of the amount of fluid they're losing in the nighttime. We would say 3 would be like magic. Let's really get this person sorted out. But for Caroline, it's not as though using the restroom super frequently until recently has become an issue. So 2 hours before bedtime, we want to start to minimize fluid intake from how much is going in, right? For for as much water as we drink, that's how readily our body wants to get rid of it. So particularly if you are thirsty at night, I don't want my athletes or my clients not having fluid within that 2 to 3 hours, because that's sometimes a lot to ask. If you're going to consume fluid in that window, keep it to sipping, because when we consume high volume, let's say you had a really poor hydration day and you just know you need to hit that number, I would rather a client not hit that number and just sip versus chugging it, because when we chug it, our body's response is, I need to get rid of this. I just took in a lot of fluid and now I need to release it. And so our body will actually fill the bladder quicker. We'll want to lose that fluid during the nighttime, and that's what we don't want, is you waking up to use the restroom from consuming a high volume of fluid in that window.
Yeah.
So keep it to sipping after the...
Yeah, I definitely have to work a little bit on that, especially like yesterday I was gonna have this track workout and then the track was full of mud, so like we ended up driving back and I was here, so I had the session so much later, and I do want it's like I definitely need to rehydrate and refuel, so it's that balance. Like it's like knowing what's ideal. Like everything we're talking about here now is ideal, but then in some situations you just do the best with that particular situation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, I think that was that. Thank you both so much for being here.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
And for sharing all this great knowledge with all of you guys. Thank you so much for watching. So if you want to check out TRUWILD, I'll leave the link to the website, and you can use code Caroline20 to get 20% off. And you can also meet with Katie, registered sports dietitian, through Dexa Body. So I'll leave a link for that below as well. And again, there's a 20% discount code. So it would really help support me as well to let them know that I sent you.
I'm so good at pretending. Keep on smiling in my tiny bubble, like a movie without ending. Spending time like it was going backwards.